Alex Rivera stepped off the shuttle with a mixture of awe and anxiety. Zithera, the planet hosting the interstellar summit, was more beautiful than any images Earth had managed to capture. Its skies shimmered with shades of violet and gold, while floating gardens drifted between crystalline towers. Humans had finally arrived at a stage in galactic diplomacy where they were more than observers, they were participants. That thought was both thrilling and terrifying. Alex was a xenolinguist, one of the few humans capable of understanding alien languages and customs. It was a role Alex had trained for all life, and yet nothing in preparation could quell the nerves at the thought of sitting among species that had ruled their corners of the galaxy for centuries. The summit's hall was vast, wider than any human stadium, with ceilings so high they vanished into soft light. Delegates of dozens of species moved gracefully around massive tables, their appearances ranging from shimmering crystalline forms to multi-limbed beings that seemed to float rather than walk. Alex clutched the seating chart in a sweaty hand, scanning for the human delegation. A polite young guide pointed toward a small circular table near the center of the hall, and Alex walked briskly, trying to appear confident. In the rush and distraction, Alex misread the seating arrangement entirely. Instead of joining the human table tucked at the back, Alex drifted forward, drawn to a table that radiated authority. The beings seated there were taller, more commanding, and their presence seemed to bend the air around them. At the head sat the figure that made Alex's stomach drop, a being of regal bearing, draped in flowing iridescent garments that seemed alive. Every eye in the hall turned toward Alex, as if the room itself had noticed the mistake. Alex froze for half a second, heart pounding. Then, before retreat was possible, the alien queen herself spoke. The voice was musical but sharp, vibrating in a way that seemed to reach the bones. "You sit at my table, human. Speak your name." The queen raised a delicate hand, and the room fell silent. The tension was thick, like a storm about to break. Then, unexpectedly, the queen leaned forward, tilting her head. "You make a mistake, yet you do not cower. Why?" "I only wish to observe, to learn. No harm will come to you while you are under my name." Her words carried weight, a mixture of command and curiosity. Alex tried to process what it meant. To be claimed by an alien queen was unheard of for a human. Some species might have seen it as a death sentence, but Zyra's tone suggested a different intention, intrigue. The surrounding delegates whispered. A few glanced nervously at Alex, others outright stared, their eyes wide with disbelief. Humans were considered fragile in many corners of the galaxy, clever but unpredictable, often underestimated. And yet here one human sat at the most important table of the summit, directly under the gaze of the alien queen, Zyra herself. As the banquet began, Alex observed the other delegates. Many of them were massive beings with shimmering wings, or multiple arms that moved independently in delicate gestures. Their voices carried in harmonics that humans could barely comprehend. The food itself was an experience, floating orbs that changed flavor depending on the mind of the eater. Alex tried a small bite, noting that the taste was unlike anything experienced on Earth, a mix of sweetness and a subtle mineral tang. "Do you enjoy our food, human?" the queen asked, her voice calm but commanding. Alex realized she had been speaking directly to them for several moments. Yes, your majesty, it's remarkable," Alex replied carefully, trying not to sound terrified. "Remarkable. How curious." She leaned back slightly, observing Alex as though assessing a new specimen. "Most who come to my table tremble, you do not. Why?" "I've learned to keep calm, even when everything seems frightening. That's how humans survive." Yet the more the banquet progressed, the more Alex noticed subtle smiles, nods of approval hidden in the gestures of certain species. It was clear. The queen's decision to claim a human at her table was not only unusual, it was potentially a signal. Halfway through the meal, an incident occurred that could have ended everything. One of the larger delegates, a four-armed being named Varkun, knocked over a delicate crystal containing an alien delicacy. The shards glinted in the light, and Varkun's anger flared visibly. Many at the table stiffened, expecting the queen to react with deadly force or some humiliating punishment. Instead, the queen turned to Alex. "Human, tell me what you would do." The answer had to be both clever and respectful. "I would apologize on behalf of everyone, and I would offer to help repair or replace the delicacy. If it is acceptable, I would also suggest a creative solution that preserves the dignity of all involved. You may repair it with human assistance. Consider it a lesson in patience and ingenuity." Humans were not strong in the way many alien species were, nor were they particularly elegant or graceful. What made humans remarkable was their unpredictability, their cleverness, and their unyielding determination. Even the Queen seemed to recognize it, her gaze often returning to Alex with something like fascination. By the time the banquet ended, Alex felt exhausted but exhilarated. Other humans might have balked at the pressures of alien politics, but somehow, sitting at the wrong table had opened a door to possibility. The Queen's attention was not a threat, it was an opportunity. When the guests began to depart, the Queen spoke once more, her words low and deliberate. "Tomorrow, your trials begin. They will test more than your knowledge. They will test your spirit, your cleverness, your very humanity. Fail, and you will return to Earth with nothing. Succeed, and you will change the way the galaxy sees your kind." And yet, for the first time, Alex felt that humans had something the galaxy had never truly seen before, a courage and cleverness that no alien could predict. As Alex left the hall, escorted by the Queen's guards, the city outside shimmered under Zithra's twin moons. The floating gardens glowed softly, and Alex thought, not for the first time, that humans might actually have a chance to survive, and even thrive, among the stars. And so the first chapter of humanity's true encounter with the galaxy began, not with a battle, but with a simple act of curiosity and a seat at the wrong table. The morning sun of Zithra spilled through the translucent walls of the palace, painting the floors with gold and violet light. Alex Rivera awoke with a mixture of dread and excitement. Yesterday's banquet had been surreal enough, but today promised something far more challenging. The Queen had mentioned trials, and though Alex did not yet know their nature, the stakes were clear. These trials would test not just knowledge or etiquette, but the very essence of humanity. Alex dressed quickly in the simple, neutral clothing provided by the palace attendants. The garments were soft, lightweight, and unfamiliar in material, yet somehow felt protective. As Alex stepped into the hall, the air hummed with quiet anticipation. Delegates from across the galaxy were already gathering. Unlike the previous evening, this hall was smaller, circular, and enclosed by panels that pulsed with faint energy. It seemed to vibrate with awareness, as if the building itself were observing every guest. The Queen entered without announcement, her presence commanding absolute attention. She moved gracefully, her robes flowing like liquid starlight. Alex felt a strange mixture of fear and respect. The trials would begin now. "You will face 3 trials," she said, her voice smooth but firm. "Each will test a different part of your being. The first examines your mind. The second, your judgment. The third, your spirit. Fail any and your claim is revoked. Succeed, and humanity's place among the stars will be reconsidered." Humans had survived worse than tests. They thrived on challenges. The first trial was unlike anything Alex expected. The floor beneath the hall shifted, revealing a vast chamber filled with floating geometric shapes that pulsed with light. A series of symbols appeared in midair, alien and complex, moving in intricate patterns. The Queen's voice echoed from everywhere at once. "Decode the sequence. Align it according to logic and symmetry. Only then will the next challenge appear." Alex started moving them with careful precision, floating panels responding instantly to touch. Hours seemed to pass in moments. Sweat dripped, fingers ached, but the sequences gradually aligned. The final symbol hovered in the center, spinning slowly. Alex hesitated, then rotated it, matching a hidden alignment that only intuition suggested. Light flared from the panels, and the chamber shifted again, revealing a bridge that led to the second trial. The Queen's voice echoed, tinged with approval. "You think quickly and adapt. Humans may be fragile, but your minds are sharp." This time the chamber was dark, lit only by a faint luminescent grid on the floor. Strange mechanical creatures scuttled across the room, their movements rapid and unpredictable. A holographic screen appeared in front of Alex, displaying images of different species, technologies, and conflicts. The task was clear but daunting: mediate a series of escalating conflicts before they caused catastrophic damage. Alex's first instinct was observation, watching the patterns of behavior, listening to subtle signals from each hologram, noting their priorities. Then came the choices: who to intervene for first, which technologies could be used safely, and which approaches might calm tension without provoking anger. Minutes stretched like hours. Alex made suggestions quietly to the simulation, redirecting energy flows, calming disputes, and proposing compromises that no alien delegate had considered. At one point, a massive construct threatened to collapse the chamber. Alex leapt, using quick improvisation and spatial reasoning to stabilize it. The challenge concluded with a ripple of energy passing through the grid. The holographic conflicts dissolved, replaced by a serene scene of interlinked worlds in harmony. The Queen's voice spoke again, low and measured. "You are cautious yet bold. You see the threads others miss. Few species can manage this. Humans are unpredictable and effective." A figure appeared, not the Queen, but a humanoid shadow, shifting and whispering in voices both familiar and strange. "You have intellect and skill," the shadow murmured. "But are you capable of true courage, of sacrifice, of hope in despair?" Alex saw loved ones in danger, the human race on the brink, entire worlds threatened. Panic rose, but Alex focused on one thought. Humans did not give up. Humans survived. "I will not falter," Alex said aloud, voice steady despite the illusions. "We will find a way. There is always a way. I cannot abandon hope, not for myself, not for others. You have these in abundance. Humans may not be the strongest, but their spirit is formidable. Not by brute force, not by tradition, but by thinking, by judgment, and by spirit. Humanity may be weaker than some, slower than others, but you possess qualities that command respect. Cleverness, courage, and a spark that no other species can predict. You, human, have begun to show what your kind can do. But this is only the beginning. You will now accompany me to the council chamber. There, your actions will have consequences not only for yourself, but for all of humanity." Where before they had looked down or ignored humans, now they whispered, nodded, and sometimes even paused to watch Alex pass. Something small but unmistakable had shifted. Humans were no longer mere observers. When they arrived at the council chamber, Alex saw why. Hundreds of species, leaders, and diplomats filled the vast hall. Each had come to witness this human who had dared to sit at the wrong table and survived. The Queen gestured for Alex to step forward. "These trials are complete. The human has shown qualities that demand attention. Consider carefully the value of a species that can think, adapt, and endure where others fail." The faces were alien, eyes reflecting doubt, curiosity, even fear. Yet in that moment, Alex realized that humanity had just taken a first crucial step. Not by weapons, not by intimidation, but by ingenuity, empathy, and persistence. The Queen had given them a stage, and humans had performed. A sudden alarm echoed through the chamber, drawing the eyes of every delegate. Outside, a group of aggressive factions had attempted sabotage, an attack that could have destroyed part of the palace. Chaos threatened to erupt. Alex's mind went to work immediately. Observing the flow of energy, the weaknesses in the defenses, and the panic spreading among some delegates, Alex began coordinating a response. Using a combination of human problem-solving and quick improvisation, Alex directed alien systems in ways that no species present had attempted. Energy barriers were stabilized, critical systems rerouted, and the sabotage neutralized before it could escalate. The chamber fell silent, every delegate staring at Alex in astonishment. The Queen's eyes glimmered with approval, a rare smile curving her lips. "You see," she said softly, almost to herself, "humans are dangerous, not in the way one expects, but in ways that matter. They think, they adapt, they endure, they persist." It was about proving that humans were more than fragile observers in a galaxy dominated by older, stronger species. Humanity had a spark, and for the first time that spark was recognized. As the council convened, the Queen leaned toward Alex. "You have done well. Tomorrow the discussions will begin in earnest. Your actions today will be remembered. Do not underestimate your potential, human. The galaxy does not easily forget those who surprise it." The Queen had not merely allowed a human to survive. She had shown the galaxy what humanity could contribute. For the first time, Alex felt not just fear, but a deep sense of responsibility. Humans had been noticed, not as fragile outsiders, but as beings capable of cleverness and courage that could alter the course of interstellar history. The weight of that realization pressed heavily, yet alongside it burned a flicker of pride and hope. The trials were over, but the true challenge, the journey of humanity among the stars, was only beginning. And Alex, once a simple xenolinguist from Earth, had become the first example of a species that might surprise the galaxy in ways no one had expected. The sun had set over Zithera, leaving the city bathed in the soft glow of twin moons. Alex Rivera walked alongside the Queen's guards through the corridors of the palace, still absorbing the events of the past 2 days. The trials had tested every part of humanity, mind, judgment, and spirit, and Alex had passed them all. But now the true test was beginning. how humanity would face the galaxy and earn a place among the stars. The council chamber was vast, larger than any human had ever seen, filled with delegates from hundreds of species. Holographic screens displayed planets, fleets, and trade routes, showing the immense scale of galactic politics. Every eye turned toward Alex as the Queen led the way to the center of the room. Whispers passed between the delegates, some curious, some skeptical, and some openly worried. The Queen addressed the assembly. "These trials are complete. The human before you has demonstrated qualities that no simulation, no test, and no prediction could measure. Humanity is clever, adaptable, and courageous. Today, they have shown that your assumptions about fragile species are mistaken." Yet the Queen was not finished. "A crisis approaches," she said, gesturing to the holographic displays. "Some factions have attempted to disrupt the summit with sabotage. The humans' ingenuity has already stabilized the situation, but the question remains: can a human lead in a moment of crisis and inspire others to act?" Outside, a fleet of unknown ships appeared, their movements coordinated and aggressive. The council had expected threats, but nothing so immediate. Panic spread among some delegates while others prepared defensive strategies. Alex felt a surge of determination. This was the moment to prove that humans were not just clever in theory, they could act decisively under pressure. Alex stepped forward. "Listen to me," the voice carried clearly, even in the vast chamber. "We cannot rely only on strength or firepower. We must think. We must act together. Each of you knows your systems and your technologies. I will coordinate, but I need you to follow my lead." Alex began issuing instructions, using a combination of universal symbols, gestures, and spoken words to communicate with multiple species at once. Humans were known for improvisation, and Alex drew on every bit of knowledge from the trials to anticipate the attackers' moves. As the fleet approached, it became clear that their technology was advanced, but predictable. Alex noticed patterns, weaknesses, and tendencies that no single species had spotted. Redirecting energy shields, rerouting power to vulnerable points, and using alien defensive systems in unconventional ways, Alex orchestrated a countermeasure. Slowly, the threat was contained without unnecessary destruction. Delegates gasped. A species that had once seen humans as fragile had just witnessed one of their own solve a crisis that could have led to catastrophe. The Queen's eyes glimmered with satisfaction. Humans are not merely observers. They can lead. They can save. They can surprise the galaxy. Delegates approached Alex with questions, expressions of admiration, and cautious respect. Some still doubted, but the seeds of curiosity and acknowledgement had been planted. Humans, once underestimated, were beginning to be seen as capable partners. The Queen motioned for quiet. "This human has earned a voice here," she declared. "And humanity will have a chance to show its place among the stars. The summit will continue, but know this: actions speak louder than traditions, and courage trumps assumptions." Every discussion, every negotiation would now carry the weight of Earth's reputation. It was a responsibility that felt enormous, but for the first time, Alex also felt empowered. Humans had survived trials that tested their mind, judgment, and spirit. Now they would survive the larger trial of the galaxy itself. Over the next hours, the summit progressed. Delegates debated trade agreements, interstellar laws, and defense pacts. Alex spoke carefully, offering solutions that were practical but unconventional. Where aliens saw rigid rules, humans found compromise. Where they saw risk, humans saw opportunity. Slowly, the tone of the room changed. Humans were no longer the fragile species in the corner. They were contributors, problem solvers, innovators. A crisis arose during a discussion of resource allocation. A planet rich in energy minerals was disputed between two powerful species. Arguments flared, voices rose, and the chamber seemed on the brink of chaos. Alex stepped forward. "There is a solution," the voice rang clear. "We can divide resources in a way that benefits both sides and strengthens the galaxy. Let us consider efficiency, sustainability, and mutual gain rather than conflict. Here is a plan." A cheer went up from some corners, while reluctant nods came from the skeptics. Humans had contributed something no one else had thought of, a combination of fairness and innovation. As the day ended, the Queen approached Alex privately. "You have done more than survive your trials," she said softly. "You have shown the galaxy what humans can offer. This is only the beginning. Your species is unpredictable, resourceful, and resilient. They will underestimate you again and again, but each time you will prove them wrong." That night, walking along the palace terraces, looking at Zithra's glowing gardens and the stars beyond, Alex realized that humanity's true power was not in weapons or numbers. It was in the mind, the heart, and the spirit. It was in the ability to adapt, to endure, and to surprise. News of Alex's actions spread quickly across the summit and beyond. Delegates who had been skeptical now began to see humanity in a new light. Some whispered about the cleverness of humans, others about their resilience, and some even about their courage under pressure. It was a slow but undeniable shift. Humanity was no longer just a young species from a distant blue planet. They were a presence that could not be ignored. The final day of the summit arrived. Treaties were signed, agreements finalized, and the delegates prepared to depart. The Queen held a private audience with Alex before the conclusion. "Your journey has just begun," she said. "Earth will watch you, the galaxy will watch you, and they will learn, as I have, that humans are not to be underestimated. You have taken a seat at the table. Now your species must learn to use it wisely." For the first time, the human race was recognized not as fragile or weak, but as clever, resourceful, and courageous, a species capable of shaping the future of the galaxy. As the shuttle returned to the human delegation, Alex reflected on the journey. The mistakes, the trials, the crises, all had led to this moment. Humanity had proven that even the smallest or youngest species could stand alongside the great powers of the galaxy. They had survived, adapted, and earned respect. Looking out at the stars, Alex smiled. The galaxy was vast, unpredictable, and full of challenges, but humans had shown they could rise to meet them. It would not be easy, and many dangers awaited, but one thing was certain: humanity had a place among the stars, and that place would not be taken lightly. Alex leaned back, heart still racing from the events of the summit, and allowed a rare moment of pride. The trials, the crises, the fear, they had all tested humanity's limits, and humanity had prevailed. The galaxy had seen it, and it would not forget. As the shuttle lifted off Zithra, Alex's thoughts turned to Earth, to the people who had never imagined such possibilities, and to the countless opportunities awaiting humans among the stars. One human had sat at the wrong table, yes, but that single act had set the stage for a species to shine in ways the galaxy had never predicted. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, and Alex knew humanity was ready. The trials were over, the crises survived, and the first true step into galactic history had been taken. Humanity had begun to show its spark, a spark that would grow, endure, and illuminate the galaxy for generations to come. And somewhere across the vast expanse of space, Queen Zyra watched, curiosity and approval in her gaze, knowing that she had seen something rare, a species that could surprise, endure, and inspire in ways no other had before.